Well, here we are at Camper Trailer of the Year 2022, powered by Red Arc. And we're about to check out the Austrack Tanami X15B. Now let's see what the judges think.
Austrack, one of the biggest names in imported campers, brought along the X15B. B is for bunk. So this one is obviously targeted towards families or anybody who has a couple of mates they're happy to share the inside of the camper with. Looking around the inside, it could take 3 kids. There were triple bunks in there and 2 adults pretty comfortably. It should, in theory, be able to do a few weeks away with maybe half of that time at holiday parks and half of that time in the bush, which I think's right where young families, who I think are the intended buyers for this camper, want to be. Kath, how far do you reckon you could go if you were to push it?
With the introduction you said go to a camper park and then spend a couple of days out bush and then come back in again. But I mean the reality is, we had 400 solar on this. That's a massive amount. We had 240 litres of water, which I'd argue is more than ample. One of the nice things to see with the Austrack is we're running Red Arc. We've got the 2 kilowatt pure sine wave converter. We've got a 30 amp Red Arc BMS. I mean, this isn't for a family who is just going to go to a park, plug in and forget about it. You don't include quality inclusions like that unless you want this thing to be working right when you're well off the grid.
We were walking around the Austrack and I noticed it had a 3,000 kilo ATM. What do you think of its off-road ability and its towability?
Its off-road is just not where it excels. Yes, it'll do it, but you're buying this because you've got a big family, you want to live off-grid, you need plenty of space. You are not buying something like this to go do tight switchbacks, to go drive down Gunshot. You know, it'll eat up the outback touring roads, it'll do that sort of stuff, but this is very much a dirt road camper.
And even with that levels upgrade option, I still think Dad nailed it. I think this is a touring camper. I think you'd be fine on graded dirt roads and whatnot, but I don't think you're going to be bouncing it on tracks. But yeah, what about its comfort inside and outside when you sit up at camp, Dan?
Comforts are definitely where this thing excels. It's unbelievably quick to set up. You've got all the bunk beds, you've got the big bed for the parents. There is that rear fold out section, but it's not overly complicated. If you're looking for a big spacious setup for a big family, this is going to give you all the kind of comforts that you're looking for. And of course, there's all the options, there's the accessories, you can spec it up however you want. In the ease of use side of things, there is 2 different canopy setups that you can go.
I can see people using the Annex at holiday parks where they're plugged into a water system and they've got, shore power as well. Where they've got 3 kids and maybe some friends from somewhere else, they just need somewhere to add in a little bit of extra space. Which sort of leads us to value for money, which is obviously a critical question in such a competitive market. $61,500 with a couple of options that were on there, or starting at around that 58. What are your thoughts on that, Glenn?
Well, as it's a family van, it's actually not too bad a price. It includes enough features that will keep a family happy with the bunk beds, reverse cycle aircon, kids room when you do set up the massive annex, which means that their parents can kick them out and say, there you go and play outside. So as far as that goes, it's not too bad.
In terms of inclusions, there's a lot going on the inside. There was a second fridge inside. What did you see in the way of layout and fit out and finish?
We saw Austrack at Camper Trailer of the Year 2020, and what I saw this time around was better. It was a lot tidier than I remember seeing 2 years ago. They are a well-known brand, they've been around for a while, and they're just making those efforts, knowing that the market is competitive, to do just that little bit better. It's maximising amenity, maintain a price point that's actually manageable. It had a 5-year warranty on structural components. It had 12 months, obviously, or manufacturer's warranty on other parts. That gives you quite a bit of confidence. I mean, Nick and the team are obviously not planning to just leave you in the lurch.
Innovation-wise, so where I saw innovation in the X15 was actually around the kitchen, but it was just little things like the way they've done the lighting in some of the drawers and the integrated chopping board, like just adding little extras for usability, as well as the storage.
I'm not convinced about the storage, I must say. Kids take up a lot of space. Small kids take up even more space. What you get in bed space, you lose in internal storage space.
Bunks take up a bit of space. Yep, it is a compromise.
Everything's a compromise. I mean, there's only so much internal space that you can fit inside a 15-foot camper. You can't grow air.
And then I suppose if we summed it all up, we think about where you can take it and who you can take with you and what it costs, what is its X factor?
As far as its X factor was, I was actually quietly surprised at how the quality of how it looked. Usually with an import, it's not terribly good, especially underneath. And this one, I was actually blown away. I thought it was actually very impressive. And it's being designed for a family. I think this one ticks the boxes for that 2 to 3. It had a very king-size single bed for one of the kids.
The bigger kid.
Yeah, so I thought it was very well designed.
So that is the X15B for bunk from Austrack, a camper trailer of the year 2022, sponsored by the power of Red Arc. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you know when we upload more videos. And if you want to watch more of our camper trailer of the year videos, we have 11 in total. You'll find them all in our channel below.